After the metropolitan area of New York became the world's first megacity with over 10 million residents in 1930, Tokyo surpassed it 2 decades later. Since then, the world has seen the rise of over 30 megacities, with Tokyo taking the lead until today. However, urban growth in the 21st century has mainly taken place in developing and emerging countries, and the United Nations expects that 2/3 of the world will live in cities by 2050. This means that more and more megacities will crop up in all parts of the world. In today's video, we take a look at the world's biggest megacities by 2050 and how they will deal with the massive challenges of rapid urbanization. Before we move forward, don't forget to like and subscribe to Top Luxury. Leave a comment below if you're currently living in one of these megacities. Starting with New York. The city that never sleeps is arguably the most influential metropolitan area in the world. The Big Apple is home to 113 billionaires and over 1 million millionaires. Home to some of the most iconic landmarks in the world, America's melting pot welcomes many nationalities, cultures, and ethnicities. Although the population of New York is decreasing over the past 4 years, it's expected that the metropolitan area will increase from around 19 million to over 25 million by 2050. One of the major challenges for the expanding megacity will be to provide housing. New York is dealing with these housing needs through mega projects like Hudson Yard Mega Development. The 28-acre mega development will cost close to $25 billion and will be completed over the next decade. Developments like Pacific Parks, Hunters Point South, and Willets Point in Queens will also add thousands of affordable housing units to the city over the coming decades. The biggest challenge for New York, however, comes from climate change. New York's sea level is rising, and the city is threatened with constant flooding in the future. It's for that reason that the state has pledged to eliminate net greenhouse gas emissions by 2050, with all its electricity coming from carbon-free sources. In 2019, New York's mayor's office also announced One NYC, a $20 billion portfolio of programs to make the city more resilient to climate change. Mexico City. Located at an elevation of over 2,000 meters, Mexico City is comfortably the world's highest megacity. It's one of the oldest urban centers in the world, with almost 22 million residents in the metropolitan area. One unique feature that sets Mexico City apart from other megacities is also its biggest challenge. It is the only megacity on Earth without direct access to a significant body of water. And with time, the challenges for this iconic city are only going to get bigger. By 2050, Mexico City will have a population of over 24 million residents, and providing them with clean water is going to get tougher. One way around this problem is to harvest rainwater from the sky. The annual rainfall in Mexico City is more than in London, and the local government has found a way to use it. The government will install over 100,000 water harvesting systems on rooftops in the next 6 years, which will provide potable water to 10 million residents. Mexico City's high population density and vulnerable geographic location mean more people will be at risk due to air pollution and natural disasters. The city is well on its way to combating these issues by joining key initiatives like the Breathe Life campaign and building earthquake-proof skyscrapers. One example of them is the Torre Reforma, which won the 2018 International High-Rise Award for being the world's most innovative high-rise. Shanghai. China's financial hub had its first push in the late 1980s and has experienced incredible progress in the last 30 years. The quality of the city's infrastructure is a sight worth seeing, and this urbanization process will continue during the next 3 decades. As people keep pouring into the city, the challenges for infrastructure will also get bigger. However, China seems to have these infrastructure problems under control. After the immense demand of the Chinese industry led to hundreds of millions of Chinese people moving into the cities, they had to find ways to regulate the influx of people into the big metropolises. That's why China is building so-called overspill cities around some of its megacities, which also offer space for millions of inhabitants. As for Shanghai, the city's urban planners intend to optimize its urbanization process by incorporating human-centered design, a process that will transform Shanghai from a hyperactive metropolis into a cultivated global center. To build low-carbon communities, urban planners promote the application of green technology and clean energy into their designs, including open public spaces. The plans for new communities include 3,500 square kilometers of protected ecological land. Shanghai is considered to be the most vulnerable major city to serious flooding. With that in view, disaster resilience prevention efforts are being implemented in Shanghai's coastal areas, including a smart flood wall. Tokyo. Tokyo's metropolitan area is home to 38 million residents, a number comfortably higher than any other metropolis in the world. Known as Earth's model megacity, Tokyo's GDP is higher than all but 8 countries in the entire world. What really sets Tokyo apart from other megacities is its extensive rail networks that are used by 40 million passengers every day. Unlike other megacities on this list, Tokyo's population is on a downward trajectory, and by 2050, it will shrink close to 32 million people. The reason for that is a lower birth rate, an aging population, and some studies have also shown that most young people in Tokyo, aged 13 to 34, prefer to remain single. This won't stop Tokyo from attaining new heights as a model urban development in the world. Already a pioneer in sustainable living, Tokyo has now set out to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. The city will back green innovation through digitalization, as well as further developing technologies for next-generation batteries for solar power and carbon recycling. But what Tokyo will really need to be alert against are natural disasters. Experts estimate the next big earthquake of magnitude 7 will hit Tokyo before the year 2050. It can result in thousands of deaths and an evacuation of 3.4 million people in a day. But Tokyo is preparing for that already. The city is building high-tech skyscrapers that are designed to sway instead of break. The parks feature hidden emergency toilets, and the city has the world's largest fire brigade. But as with any natural disaster, all the preparations are only as good as the execution on the ground. Lagos and Kinshasa. Next on the list are 2 African cities that will be among the world's 10 most populated cities in 2050. Lagos is the most populous city in Nigeria, with official estimates putting the current population of the megacities area over 15 million residents. This number, however, is due to increase twofold and reach almost 32 million by 2050, according to most projections. The Democratic Republic of Congo's capital and largest city, Kinshasa, paints a similar picture. A city of 14.34 million people in 2020 will surpass even Lagos to become Africa's largest city by 2050, with 35 million inhabitants. In the face of massively increasing population, the biggest challenge for these 2 megacities is to build enough infrastructure to meet the growing needs. Kinshasa is dealing with the problem with the help of China, as the Democratic Republic of Congo recently became part of China's One Belt, One Road project. The infrastructure push in Lagos is mainly dependent on a game-changing housing project, Eco-Atlantic, a planned city being constructed on reclaimed land along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. The goal of the development is to establish Lagos as the financial hub of not just Nigeria, but the entire African continent. Upon completion, the new development is anticipating at least 250,000 residents and a daily flow of 150,000 commuters. Both Kinshasa and Lagos are taking huge strides into the future, but the megacities of the future run the risk of alienating millions that are still living in slums. Any future leap will have to take into account the future of these most vulnerable citizens. Dhaka. The capital of Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing megacities in the world. A population of 21 million in 2021 is projected to increase to over 35 million residents by 2050. Bangladesh is also often called the ground zero for climate change disruption. Experts estimate that by 2050, 17% of the total land will be underwater. So, Dhaka, in many ways, is the last resort for thousands of migrants every year. The city welcomes over 500,000 migrants every year, many of which become a part of the city's growing population. The huge population bulge is presenting great challenges for Dhaka. The city's traffic is gridlocked, the air quality is at a moment of crisis, and over 4 million people live in the slums. The picture, however, isn't all bleak. By 2030, the city will have completed a metro rail system called Dhaka Metro that will ease the congestion that occurs around the city on a daily basis. The $3 billion development is a part of Dhaka's strategic transport plan that will add close to 5,000 buses moving along 160 routes. Rapid completion of these projects, along with many others, is essential to bolster the city's economic prospects. The one thing working in Dhaka's favor is the resilience of its population. Despite the humongous problems, the residents remain hopeful, and an increasing volume of skilled youth might be Dhaka's way out of its profound problems. Delhi and Mumbai. India is projected to be the most populous country on Earth by 2050, so it isn't much of a surprise that the two biggest megacities by 2050 will be Indian. The country's capital, Delhi, will house over 36 million residents in its area, and that's still quite some way behind the country's financial capital, Mumbai, which will be inhabited by over 42 million people. Most of the changes in the two megacities will be observed with regards to infrastructure. A grand project that is currently underway is the $90 billion Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor. The corridor will be 1,483 kilometers long and will connect two of the biggest future cities with each other. The corridor will have 24 investment and industrial sectors and will also feature new industrial smart cities, 2 international airports, India's first high-speed rail line, and several power projects. Not just that, talks are also ongoing to introduce Hyperloop One in India. The next-generation travel infrastructure will transport people at speeds as high as 1,300 kilometers per hour, meaning that people will travel between the two megacities in an incredible 80 minutes. Safe to say that Delhi and Mumbai won't just be two of the biggest megacities, they can also become technology leaders by 2050. What do you think about